Welcome, everyone, and happy Easter and Passover to all my listeners. This is Deep Talk with Vasavi Kumar, and you're listening to KCMO Talk Radio 710. Man, I am so refreshed. I went to D.C. last week for the Get Radical Women's Conference, and then this past Thursday, I just needed some alone time. I just needed to kind of get away and clear my head and journal and meditate and spend some time with myself and nature. So I just got back from a beautiful bed and breakfast in Herman, Missouri. You guys should check it out. It's the Herman Hill Bed and Breakfast. It was beautiful. It was just what I needed. I unplugged. I had an autoresponder for my emails. I let everyone know that I'm taking a much-needed soul-centered vacation. Sometimes you just have to get away from all the stimulation and just be with yourself. So how many of you listened to last week's show? It was all about kindness. And I had my kind father, Shanti Kumar, on the show. He really is the kindest man that I know and one of the wisest. So it really is no surprise that at some point or another he would be on the show. And I've been thinking a lot about what my dad said, about how kindness with others begins with being kind to yourself. And it's so true. Just think about it. If you were kind to yourself, kind of like how a mother would be kind to a child, just imagine how filled up you would be. Think about what you could actually give back to others. Think about how much, you'd be able to give to the people in your life that truly deserved your kindness if you started practicing that radical self-love, that radical kindness with yourself. So I want to ask you, do you need to start being kind to yourself? Is that a concept that's even foreign to you? Being totally immersed in your kindness and in your love, but towards yourself. Trust me, it was no easy feat for me to practice kindness with myself, but really that's what it is. It's practice. It's a daily practice and a commitment that you make to be kind to yourself. So give me a call at 913-951-1764, and let's work on a plan for you to practice kindness towards yourself. Or visit my website at vasavikumar.com. I have tons of books there if you want to just start reading all about kindness and really where to begin. So today, we're talking about no more excuses in your life. And my guest today, Sam Silverstein, is no nonsense when it comes to holding yourself and others accountable. He's an accountability expert and the author of No More Excuses, which you can get at his website, samsilverstein.com, or you can also get it on Amazon. I couldn't put down his book, No More Excuses. It was clear, to the point, and practical. It's the kind of book that leaves you slightly uncomfortable and gives you that itch that makes you want to get in action, because Sam speaks the truth. In this book, he gets right to the point, and it does. It makes you uncomfortable. Like, wow, where am I making excuses for myself? You can, like I said, get it at his website, samsilverstein.com. I also have the most amazing, awesome coach in the building. Mike Rutherford is the owner of Boot Camp Fitness in Prairie Village, Kansas. I actually go there, and I was just talking to Mike before the show started how I let myself off the hook and with working out, and I said to him, I just need to hold myself accountable and be there 5 days this week. And he said, all right, well, you put it out there. So if you guys want to check out his boot camp classes, check it out. Go to his website at bootcampfitnesskc.com. We're going to go to a break, and when we get back, we're going to talk to our guests. You're listening to Deep Talk with Vasavi on KCMO Talk Radio 710.
KCMO Talk Radio 710 with Laura Ingraham.
97 Democrats don't think there's a debt problem in the United States, or we can call them just debt deniers.
She's outspoken.
It's very masculine sounding, don't you think? My voice is lower than his.
Opinionated.
This is all anecdotal for me.
And not afraid to tell the truth.
So he was all thrilled about meeting Obama, though that's a shock.
Laura Ingraham. Weekdays from 9 to 11 on KCMO Talk Radio 710.
You own or operate a business. You know you need to advertise, but you have questions. You aren't sure where to turn. There's a free resource that can help. CumulusRadio.com. CumulusRadio.com has the answers that will help you decide where to advertise, what to say, and how to say it. This free resource has helped thousands of business owners and operators make the right choices, and it can help you find your answers too. CumulusRadio.com. You know your business. We know marketing. CumulusRadio.com.
Did you know you could earn a transfer discount just by switching your motorcycle policy over to Geico? And if you already insure your car with Geico, you could even get a multi-policy discount. I've always wondered what it's like to ride a motorcycle, to ride my steel horse across the land, fighting crime alongside a tall brunette, Francesca. Sorry, my mind went to a strange place there. Where was I? All the Geico motorcycle discounts. Right.
Call Geico or visit geico.com today to see how much our discounts could save you.
Today we're asking people to name their one favorite meal for one from Stouffer's.
One favorite? Stouffer's lasagna. But how about the barbecue chicken?
Grilled white meat chicken coated with a sweet and tangy sauce with a side of cheesy potatoes topped with crisp bacon.
Yes.
So that's your one Stouffer's favorite.
Oh, but I also like Stouffer's meatloaf.
Classic meatloaf with a rich tomato glaze, smothered in a savory gravy with a tasty side of... Hey, where are you going?
You kidding? The store.
Stock up on all your favorite Stouffer's meals for one today.
I'm a very bad man. I don't use a knife, a gun, or a crowbar. I don't even need to leave my computer, but I could steal your retirement, the equity in your home, even the money in your bank accounts. And you may not even know it till I'm long gone. Think you can stop me?
Identity theft has become one of the biggest criminal activities in the world, and fighting it on your own is nearly impossible. You need LifeLock, the only company whose sole mission is protecting our members' identities. At LifeLock, we believe you have the right to live free from the fear of identity theft. So we offer the most comprehensive identity theft protection available. Try LifeLock's service risk-free for 60 days. If you're not convinced, simply cancel within 60 days of enrollment for a full refund. This offer of 60 days risk-free is too important to pass up, so call now. 1-800-995-7932. Promo code Enroll60. That's 1-800-995-7932. Enroll60. See lifelock.com for details.
Now that it's the new year, isn't it time for the new you? That's right, the new you. The you who resolves to stop overspending and take control of your finances. The you who's ready to get serious about saving for the future by first paying off your debt. After all, those credit card bills aren't going anywhere until you decide to do something about it. But no worries, you are not in this alone. Nonprofit Trinity Debt Management is here to help. Trinity has a proven program that will consolidate your bills into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, drastically reduce your interest, and put an end to late fees and collections calls. You will save thousands and become debt-free for keeps. Hey, it's the new year. Shouldn't you make a resolution to call Trinity? 1-800-936-5348.
Trinity.
1-800-936-5348. Or visit mydebthasmedown.com.
Don't you hate it when you're too cold or too hot? Total Comfort Heating and Cooling has free estimates and tons of spring specials on new heating and cooling equipment. Call Total Comfort Heating and Cooling now before temperatures and prices rise. 913-722-1168 or tccoolman.com.
Get connected to Kansas City's talk station, KCMO Talk Radio 710. Listen live online to your favorite shows. Get up to date with breaking news. And visit past shows podcasting online at KCMO Talk Radio710.com. Dave Ramsey.
Pinky swear and spit shake. That thing's a contract.
Tune in to Dave Ramsey. Weekdays from 11 till 2 on KCMO Talk Radio 710.
We're back, and you're listening to Deep Talk with Vasavi on KCMO Talk Radio 710. And I'm here with my guest, Sam Silverstein, accountability expert and author of the book No More Excuses, which you can get on his website, samsilverstein.com. Or you could go to Amazon and get his book, No More Excuses. And I'm also here with Coach Mike Rutherford, also known as Coach Rut, and he's the owner of Boot Camp Fitness in Prairie Village. And that's where I go to take my boot camp classes. I try to go 3 times a week. But since today's topic is no more excuses, I thought what better way to show how we let ourselves off the hook than by bringing in an accountability expert and Coach Rudd, the owner of Boot Camp Fitness. You know, one of the prime areas where we let ourselves off the hook is with our well-being. This includes spiritual well-being, emotional well-being, mental well-being, and especially our physical well-being. I mean, have you taken a look at the obesity rates in this country? And I have to be completely transparent. Part of why, you know, I invited Sam on the show and then I invited Coach Rutt on the show is because I know that in my life, I've always struggled with keeping myself accountable, getting to the gym at least 4 to 5 days a week. I mean, I can find every excuse not to go. And it's funny. I was telling Coach Rutt before, you know, I can work till midnight working on my business. But if I have to go to the gym or if I have to, you know, take a boot camp class, I will find an excuse for that. And it really got me thinking, you know, obviously I'm not the only person going through this. So I thought it would be great for all of you listeners out there really looking at what is it that you need to be accountable for? What's the mindset? And what's the strategy that you need to put into place to win? To actually lose that weight, to actually feel healthy and to feel alive. So we're going to be talking about accountability in the framework designed by Sam Silverstein and then applying it to our physical well-being. But I want you to know that Sam's framework can actually be used in all areas of your life. So welcome, Sam.
Hey, it's great to be here.
It's great to have you, Sam. And hi, Coach Rutt.
Good morning.
So, Sam, I want to actually get right into it, and I want to know, why did you write the book, No More Excuses?
Well, I wrote the book for the reason that you just described, is that many times I find that it's easier to be accountable to someone else than to be accountable to ourselves, and there's a big issue there, and hopefully we'll have time to talk about that. But what I've discovered is that the most successful people in the world, either professionally or personally, are those people that aren't making excuses. And the ones that are failing and the ones that aren't achieving what they want out of this life, they are making excuses. So the question is, why are some people more accountable than others? And that really jump-started all the research that I've done.
So just so all of our listeners are clear, what do you define as an excuse?
There's many ways of looking at it, but basically it's a story. Some people call it a lie, but we'll be gentle and call it a story that you tell yourself to sell yourself and try to sell to someone else. It's a story that you're using to try to cover up the truth for why things are the way they are.
I think that's so great, Sam, that you use the word story, because in a lot of my previous shows, I always talk about how we have our junk. We have our past, we have our stories that we hold on to, and as long as we're holding on to that story, we can never powerfully step forward in our life, you know, in any area of our life. So, you know, people have excuses for everything. Let's just be blunt, let's just be, you know, completely real here. You know, people have excuses for everything. What would you say is the most significant impact on the person making the excuse?
Well, I think what happens when we start making excuses, quite frankly, is we lose respect for ourselves, and the people around us lose respect for us. It ultimately, when we use an excuse, it weakens us, and it puts us not in a position of strength and power. And I'm not talking about power as in CEO of a major organization. I'm talking about power as control over your life. And if you're trying to become more physically fit, it's power in that you can master what it takes to be more physically fit, or it's power that you can master being a great parent or being a great spouse or being a great friend. And we know that we're making these stories. We know that we're spinning these excuses and sticking them out there, and we just keep nicking away at our self-esteem every time we do it.
So actually, before the show started, I was talking to Coach Rutt about how I asked him, I go, do you let yourself off the hook? I wanted to kind of really dig a little more. Like, do you let yourself off the hook? And his answer was no. He really does not let himself off the hook. So, Coach Rutt, I got to ask you, how did you get to the point where you are now, where you really don't let yourself off the hook and you hold yourself accountable? How do you do that?
Well, I think for me, I had a father that died prematurely, and I observed some of his practices and vowed that I would never wanted to go that way, that I wanted to do things. I wanted to control and manage lifestyle variables a lot better than he did. So, I mean, the stage was set for me early on. I was an athlete. I played college football. I was not very talented, and as a result, I knew that I had to do things better in other areas of my life, the conditioning, the nutrition that was preached, at least at that time. And so these sort of practices drove me to have the self-control, the accountability to myself, knowing that, and it's just continued to be that way. And in my practice then, and the people that come in to practice with us, that just permeates the staff. You mentioned that the thing that you really like about our coaching staff is that people walk their talk. And that's really, I loved hearing that because that's what we want to do. And just to have that air when someone comes in and they come to work out, that they feel that, they sense that.
That's great. And what I'm really present to is really the mindset that you had to get into. Like you saw certain ways of being that you maybe didn't really like in your dad, and you decided that you had to do something different. So it really was your mindset. And Sam, you talked about the Accountability Academy as a strategy for someone who may need some accountability in their life. So, folks, if you really want to get some accountability for yourself, either as an individual or whether you're in an organization, check out accountabilityacademy.com. So, Sam, you talk about the 5 accountabilities. I love them. I want to get through all of them because I think they're awesome and they're so relevant. So what's the first accountability?
I tell you what, we're going to take 5 seconds before that, and I want to go back to something you said because it was critically important, and the challenge of going into the gym and working into the gym. And because I think it all comes back to this, and that is that I've asked this question literally on 6 continents. Thousands of people. Why is it easier to be accountable to someone else than it is to be accountable to yourself? Why is it easier to show up for that meeting than it is to go to the gym? And the reason that it comes down to, someone in my audience once put it very succinctly, and she said, it's easier to lie to myself than it is to lie to someone else.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Yeah, and that's just it. The problem is, if it's easier to lie to ourselves, that means that we have a lower regard for ourselves. We're more concerned with what other people think about us than what we think about ourselves. And that comes back to self-esteem. And that's really what needs to be in place first. We must believe in ourselves. We must believe in our capabilities. We must believe that we're all put on this earth with a unique set of skills. And it's our responsibility to find out what our greatest skill sets are and then apply those skill sets, because that's where we'll achieve success. And once we accept the responsibility to do that, all of a sudden accountability, it comes into a whole new focus. It comes into a whole new light.
So, Sam, I mean, well, what I love about what you're saying is it's not just about, I make excuses. You're saying it's easier to lie to yourself, obviously, than it is to others. And so you're saying it's a much deeper issue. It's actually self-esteem and confidence. And guys, obviously we're going deeper because you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710. So, Sam, what's the first accountability?
Okay, the first accountability. These are the 5 things that we're all accountable for. They're the same for all of us. They just apply differently. The first one is we're accountable to do the right things consistently. And I'm not talking about morally right. We always have to do that. I'm talking tactically right. We need to know what our strategic intent is. What is it that we're trying to achieve? And then what right things or what activities, if performed regularly and performed well, will help us achieve at that level. So if we want to be more physically fit, then what's a right thing is certainly going to the gym. And maybe we need to go to the gym 3 days a week, whatever the magic number is. That could be one of our right things.
And one of the right things could also be what you're putting into your body. One of the right things could be hiring a coach. So when you're talking about right things, how does someone choose what the right things are?
Well, the first and most important thing is we need to know what our strategic intent is. What are we trying to achieve? The underlying goal. Then the question is, what are the steps necessary to get there? And so some right things could be a one-time right thing or a monthly right thing. Some right things are literally daily right things, like you mentioned, diet. So learning about diet is a right thing. But executing on that diet, and that education might be, take place over a short period of time, but the actual execution is a daily activity. one way to learn more about what your right things are is simply find someone who has been successful in what you're trying to be successful in and ask them. And that's why a coach can be so powerful, because a coach comes with that experience. And then you can go to the coach and you can say, okay, you've been there, you've done that. What are my right things? What are the things that I need to focus on that if I execute them well and execute them consistently, that I can be successful at what it is I'm trying to do?
That's great. And I think this is really where you get clear on what it is that you want to achieve. That's really what I hear when you're saying the right things. What is it that you want for your life? That's your strategic intent, the goals that you want for your life.
Right. So, and then the right things are those activities, because what most people fall into the trap of doing is they're not focused on activities that will help them achieve their goal. So we come to work in the morning, as an example, and we have a legal pad with our list of things to do, and there's 75 things on there, or however many things are on there, and everyone always checks off the same one first thing in the morning. They always go to the easiest thing on their list, and they do it because they want that quick check mark. And what I'm saying is that just because you get the check mark doesn't mean that it's moving you closer to your goals, your strategic intent. So we need to be incredibly focused strictly on right things, those activities that will lead us closer to our goal. And when you improve your focus, you improve your results. It's very simple.
So your second accountability is that we are accountable to manage our space. What does that mean, and how does this relate to someone wanting to live a healthy lifestyle?
Well, that's a great question. So I'll give you an example. My eldest daughter, when she was in high school after her junior year, she she stepped down from the varsity cheerleading squad. Now you say, wow, going into your senior year, you're not going to be a cheerleader. Well, what she wanted to do is she wanted to be a regional president of an 8-state region for her youth group. And she realized that in order to take on this new responsibility to grow in this area, that she needed to create space for that to happen. And she created that space or that time by making the tough choice to eliminate an activity that was important to her and that she did enjoy, but she felt the new activity would bring in greater enjoyment. Managing our space is about looking at how we're spending our time and on the individual level and deciding what we need to eliminate, because people only grow into a vacuum. That means we have to create an emptiness so that we can fill it with something that will enable us to grow, that will enrich our life, take us in the direction that we want to go.
So, for example, if we're talking about someone wanting to live a healthy lifestyle, I'll use myself because I'm an expert on my life and how I'm living. One of the things that I know was sabotaging me getting to boot camp in the morning was that I would work really late. So would you say that one thing that I can do to manage my space is to kind of put a deadline, when I would stop working? Okay, I'm going to stop working at 7 p.m. so I could get to bed by 9:30, so then I can get up in the morning. Is that also considered, managing my space, really managing what is in my life?
Part of, when you look at the term space, and if you want to put that in quotes, if you will, part of it is your time. Another aspect of space are your systems, the way you've always done it. And how many times have we heard someone say, well, I've always done it this way and it's always worked well for me? Well, that doesn't mean it's going to work well going into the future. So what you've just illustrated is an excellent example of maybe a system that has worked for you in the past, but it's not going to work for you in the future. So your system of when you work and when you get your rest, maybe you need to reevaluate that and make those changes so that now you've changed your space. And now it allows you to get up in the morning and do what ultimately you need to do to be physically fit. And once you're physically fit, will allow you to do the things mentally that you want to do to create the life and the significance you want to deliver to your community.
Okay, so we've talked about being accountable to the right things. Really, what is it that your goal is, your strategic intent? We've talked about managing our space, and you said space in quotes. It's not just your physical space, but it's also your time. What are you putting your energy on? And we're going to get to a break. You're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710.
KCMO Talk Radio 710.
It's the KCMO Morning Show with Greg Knapp.
We've been talking about this idea of a brokered convention. Sarah Palin saying she's keeping her mind open. Ronald, you're on the KCMO Morning Show. Go right ahead.
Sarah Palin, she's in it just to make money, reality shows. Me as a General Motors worker, I'm glad Obama's doing a great job. Everything is coming around, and I'm happy.
Good for you, Ronald. You keep sucking off the union teat, and everything will be great.
Greg Knapp, weekdays from 5 till 9 on KCMO Talk Radio 710.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lisa Lasera. He was a fixture on TV news for decades. Journalist Mike Wallace has died. He joined the staff of CBS's 60 Minutes when it began in 1968 and was there ever since.
He didn't necessarily play gotcha. He actually asked intelligent and very tough questions to answer. But, many people who weathered Mike Wallace's interview grew to respect him greatly.
Fox News Chairman Roger Ailes. Mike Wallace was 93. Arrests made in a series of deadly shootings of African Americans in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In all, 3 dead, 2 hurt.
The suspects are both white men. 19-year-old Jake England and 32-year-old Alvin Watts arrested early Sunday thanks to a tip from the public.
It was a hunch, really. It was not anything that they had heard or somebody that had been involved in it. It was more of a hunch.
Fox Radio's Chris Honig. Fox News. We report, you decide.
710.
After a chilly start on this Easter Sunday, we'll warm quickly with plenty of sunshine. In fact, our high temperature this afternoon will be in the upper 60s. Now, it won't be as cool tonight, with temperatures holding in the 50s this evening, and more sun is on the way for the next several days. In fact, mostly sunny skies are forecast through Wednesday, with temperatures in the 60s. I'm KCTV5 meteorologist Tom Walks.
Sweet Jack, now that's a real sweet deal.
Say Olay for a shredded roast beef chimichanga at Don Cholitos. Go to sweetjack.com for 50% off your Tex-Mex favorites at Don Cholitos.
If you owe the IRS $20,000 or more in back taxes, are under audit, or have unfiled returns, you need to be informed. Not filing your tax returns will lead to significant financial problems. It's never too late to file a return. There is a way out, but you need experts. Those experts are the people at Tax Resolution Services Company. Don't fight this fight alone. The IRS is the most brutal collection agency on the planet. Tax Resolution Services will completely handle your case for you and deal with the IRS on your behalf. They can negotiate a settlement of up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest if you qualify. Whether you're a small business owner or an individual, Tax Resolution Services can help you solve your problems and even get you on a payment plan. If you are in fear of not being able to pay, don't be. Know that you have options. Call Tax Resolution Services now at 866-IRS-PROBLEMS. That's 866-IRS-PROBLEMS, or log on to taxresolution.com.
We are at the crossroads. America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare while still keeping our promises to seniors? How do we cut government spending so that our children aren't saddled with trillions in debt? How do we reform healthcare so you and your family are in charge of your dollars and decisions? How do we simplify the tax code so we don't stifle tomorrow's small business owners? In 2012, which presidential candidate will stand up for the American dream? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. It's time to fix the debt, cut spending, and restore prosperity. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org. That's savingthedream.org. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
99.9% of the Grainger products you order are shipped the same day. And 99% of our customers think that's great. But if you're part of the 1% minority that thinks this is too fast, here's some ways you can slow us down. Talk slower on the phone. Order in a language only you understand. Have your order shipped to a houseboat, then move the houseboat. Or my personal favorite, order a trillion of something. For super fast access to Grainger's over 900,000 products, call, click Grainger.com, or stop by a branch today. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get connected to Kansas City's talk station, KCMO Talk Radio 710. Listen live online to your favorite shows. Get up to date with breaking news. And visit past shows podcasting online at KCMO Talk Radio 710.com. KCMO. Ever screamed at your radio? Something we said? Say what's on your mind. Kansas City's talk station, KCMO Talk Radio 710.
Hi, we're back, and you're listening to Deep Talk with Vasavi on KCMO Talk Radio 710. I have a huge smile on my face, and I don't know why. It must be because I'm so happy today. And we've just been talking to Sam Silverstein about the first two accountabilities in his book, No More Excuses, which you could get at his website, samsilverstein.com, or you can check it out at amazon.com. For those of you in the Kansas City area and that want to start working out, I really think you should come to Boot Camp Fitness. It's amazing. Coach Rutt and his staff are awesome and will take very good care of you. So check them out at bootcampfitnesskc.com. If you want to learn more about what we're talking about today, check my website out at www.vasavikumar.com. So we've talked about the first two accountabilities, being accountable to the right things, really being clear about what your goals are, and then setting the strategy in place to make that happen. Also being accountable to managing our space, which includes our time, our energy, our physical space, to really step forward and achieve those goals that we've set for ourselves. So, Sam, what's the third accountability?
The third accountability is that we're all accountable to manage the process. And what that means is that if we understand what our strategic intent is and we know what our right things are and we're executing on those right things on a daily basis, sooner or later we're going to run into some challenges. We all run into challenges. We run into roadblocks, if you will. And the most successful people I know in most aspects of life are those people that can get through those roadblocks and still get to where they're trying to go. So the question is, when there's a roadblock, do we just throw our hands up in the air and do we say, oh, we tried? Or do we say, well, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be? Or do we use creativity and persistence to find a way around that roadblock? It's kind of like you go to the airport and your flight's canceled and they say, go get in line where Jason is standing and he'll rebook you. Well, you can do that, but there's 167 people coming off that flight. It's going to take 2.5 hours to get everyone rebooked, and half the flights that you could have been on are going to be gone at that point. Or do you have all the phone numbers for all the major airlines in your cell phone so you can call one of those 800 numbers, if you will, and within 3 minutes you can get booked onto another flight that you might just have enough time to catch, and you might get to where you're going not as late as you would have otherwise. That's managing the process. It's being aware of what's going on around you, not abdicating to everyone else, and maintaining the accountability of achieving your strategic intent.
So this was by far my favorite accountability, and I want to tell you why.
Cool.
I tell my listeners that I'm a recovering perfectionist and control freak, so I'm really good at managing the process. So I love this because I think so often, people think, oh, circumstances are happening, life is happening, and I don't know what to do. But I love this accountability because it puts the power back in your hands. That you actually do have the power to manage the process, but it really involves you thinking bigger than yourself and outside of yourself. And I love the example that you gave about what happens to people at the airport. I mean, yeah, there's so many other creative solutions if we just stop and look around us. So, Coach Rutt, I want to ask you, for people who want to have a healthier lifestyle, they come into your boot camp and they're all ready to start, kind of like how I was. What would you say to people, the first step to really managing their process so that they can get on that journey of living and being healthy and well?
Well, it's not a first step. It's several little steps. And it usually starts with somebody that is just disgusted at some level.
Yeah.
Either looking in the mirror, how they feel, not sleeping, stress-related things. That's the leverage usually that'll have them seek us out. But when they come in, then we want to focus on some priorities that they have to have. And the first one is to manage their sleep or their rest. And at the bottom of the pyramid, it's very critical. I mean, there's so many things that are being linked to our inability to sleep. You just need to watch, commercials on a weekend afternoon to see the number of sleep aids that are sold at a prescription level. So working on that and have sleep hygiene that goes with it. Obviously, we're going to see you come into the practice and exercise with us. 3 to 6 times a week.
Yeah.
Following our prescription for how we want you to work out. And then the other component that comes into play early on then obviously is your dietary practice and your relationship with food. Those are the first steps that occur, and to use Sam's terminology, the strategic intent. Then the offshoots of that are, the practices that you need to make a priority every day to accomplish some of those things, to start as an overall, become more effective as an overall human being. There's little steps that go with that as well.
The ultimate payoff, I think, of managing the process is to really close those power leaks. I was telling Coach Rutt before about how I do sabotage my physical well-being simply by not going to sleep on time. I mean, that is the one way that I sabotage getting up in the morning. And I said, and he said to me, if you're going to show up late to boot camp, it's not really about you showing up late to boot camp, but that is an indication of where else in your life you do that. So it may be in boot camp that you show up late, but you're probably doing that in other areas of your life. So that was a really good thing to hear. And when you manage your process, you really do have the experience of closing those power leaks in your life so that you can truly be successful. So, Sam, what's the fourth accountability?
Well, the fourth accountability is that we're accountable to establish the right expectations. Here's what is pretty much been proven over time, is that people perform based on the expectations that are set upon them. Gymnasts, starting from the young age, little children, the gymnasts perform based on the expectations of their coach, all the way up into and including Olympic gold medalists. The key is that we need to establish the right expectations. Many times people set low expectations, and then they perform at a low level. And others set higher expectations, perform at a higher level. But if we set the expectations too high, then we can make bad decisions and choices trying to meet these unrealistically high expectations. So the key is to understand how to set great expectations. And you do that by not only knowing what your history and experiences are, but learning what the history and experiences of others are. And that's another reason why a coach can be really helpful, because a coach knows what can be done based on a broader view of the field. But when you combine your past experience with the past experience of others and the past experience of others that aren't necessarily in the same arena as you, then you bring it all together and you find out what truly is possible. And then you unleash your greatest potential at that point, because you can set the right expectation, one that's going to challenge you, one that's not too low, one that's not unrealistically high, one that'll help drive you to get the results, even though you may not realize you can get those results.
And guys, if you're looking for that accountability, if you're looking for the resources and for the people to set those expectations for you that you can actually step into and start living your life from your highest and your best self, check out Sam's Accountability Academy at accountabilityacademy.com. If you're looking to join a group of people who walk their walk and talk their talk in the area of not just physical well-being, but just the way they show up in their life each and every day, Coach Rutt and his staff is a great example of that. That's why I joined them. Go to bootcampfitnesskc.com. And I wanted to ask Coach Rutt, when people sign up to boot camp, they're really excited, they're really motivated. What do you think is the biggest downfall of people who come in and they have these expectations for themselves?
Yeah, I think, Sam touched on it just a moment ago with, setting the bar a little bit too high. Sometimes just the fact that getting out of bed is something novel for somebody. Just getting up could be a really good first step. And in fact, in my past, that was the thing that I had people do before they even started an exercise program was, this week, get out of bed. It's just getting, 20 years of not doing anything and suddenly recognizing that person that you're looking at in the mirror, you don't recognize. They don't look the same. And then wanting to have that transformation occur, in 30 days is just not realistic at all. So keep the bar low, reward yourself in a small way. for getting out of bed, for attending a minimum number. Again, it goes back to the strategic intent and the tasks that go with that. Getting to class, having your home be a nutritional fortress that only has the right choices in there. Getting to bed at the right time, so that you get the rest that you need to have. So, setting the bar too high.
And instead acknowledging yourself for the little steps.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So Sam, what's the fifth and the last accountability?
Well, the fifth accountability is that we're accountable to contribute to our relationships. And I specifically use the word contribute. And I would ask, anyone that's listening to the show to think about one or two or three things that you're incredibly proud of, something that you've accomplished, something of significance. And for some people, it could be a graduation, a degree, it could be a position within their organization, it could be a relationship. And I literally would be willing to bet every dollar I have that you can't think of something that you've accomplished that there wasn't a relationship involved. And if relationships are that important, then it's critical that we find ways to contribute to those relationships to help make a difference for those people, because those people will be out there to make a difference for us. And one of the greatest ways I believe that we can contribute to a relationship is to catch someone doing what they are great at and recognizing it. Because when you recognize someone's greatness, then you positively reinforce that attribute that they have, and then they're willing to use it again and again. And we achieve amazing things in our life by using the skills that we're greatest at, not by necessarily dealing with or trying to improve the areas that we're weak at. Because it's not that we shouldn't improve, but where our greatest strength comes is where our greatest success will be. And this extends beyond just the interpersonal relationships, but it extends also to the relationship we have in the community in which we live and serve and the globe in which we inhabit. That someone dug the well before we showed up in this town, and we need to be responsible to leave things or to put things in a way that is proper and good for the ones that are coming behind us. And so it's really important that we contribute to those relationships as well as we make a difference on a bigger scale.
Sam, thank you so much. I love, two things that popped to mind when you talked about contributing to our relationships. I often say this, that the quality of your life is a reflection of the quality of your relationships. And the other thing that you just said was the greatest gift, kind of how I processed it was the greatest gift you can give someone is to create the space for them to step into and be great and to reflect back their greatness. And that really is the job of a coach. And I know you do that, and I know Coach Rutt does that. So, guys, if you want to check out Sam's book, go to his website at samsilverstein.com. The name of his book is No More Excuses. You could get it at amazon.com. I loved it. It was great. If you need more accountability in your life, then go to his Accountability Academy at accountabilityacademy.com. Sam, I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to be on the show.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity to share these ideas. And for everyone that's listening, there's literally hundreds of articles and videos on the website, as well as a free e-zine if you're interested in. Please feel free to check it out. And I just wish you a great day. And I know Mike's doing great things with his clients and teaching them to be more accountable in their physical life and their well-being. And thanks again.
Thank you so much, Sam. Guys, you are listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710. I'm Vasavi, and we'll be back.
KCMO Talk Radio 710 with Dave Ramsey.
Because your voice changes and catches in your throat when I start talking about you doing these things that are proper things and that are not mean. I'm not trying to punish your mother.
Financial freedom mixed with common sense.
You need to be putting 15% of your income away in retirement.
Tune in to Dave Ramsey, weekdays from 11 till 2 on KCMO Talk Radio 710.
This is my parents' Mercedes M-Class, but it won't always be, if you know what I mean.
When you own a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, chances are they'll own it one day too, because a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz is 100% through and through a Mercedes-Benz. And right now, during our certified pre-owned sales event, you can get exceptional 1.99% financing on select models. Every one of our certified pre-owned vehicles undergoes a rigorous inspection by factory-trained technicians to ensure it meets the uncompromising standards of Mercedes-Benz. And considering we invented the automobile, those standards are indeed high. Plus, a warranty and roadside assistance for up to 5 years and 100,000 total miles. And now, with 3 months of Sirius satellite radio.
I can't wait to drive this.
Hurry into the Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Sales event, now through April 30th. And remember, if it's not at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer, it's not certified pre-owned.
See dealer or call 1-800-F4-Mercedes for complete program, including certified pre-owned, limited warranty, and Sirius satellite radio details and limitations. Not all customers will qualify for advertised APR and are subject to prior credit approval.
At Quicken Loans, we provide you with state-of-the-art online tools, like our app for your smartphone, MyQL Mobile. This means that if you work with a mortgage lender other than Quicken Loans, you might be dealing with someone who doesn't use state-of-the-art online tools. Let me demonstrate. Can I upload my mortgage documents with your mobile app?
No, sorry, we don't offer mobile apps. I didn't realize appetizers were mobile.
Are you using a typewriter?
Why, yes, I am. We just upgraded from Carrier Pigeon.
So I take it you don't offer your clients the latest and greatest technology.
Who do you think I am? Quicken Loans?
Industry-leading tools like MyQL Mobile to get you through your loan process with speed and ease. One more way Quicken Loans is engineered to amaze. The rate today on a 30-year fixed mortgage is an incredible 3.99%. APR 4.22%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN. Or go to QuickenLoans.com.
Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. Nationwide licensing number 3030.
I'm a very bad man. I don't use a knife, a gun, or a crowbar. I don't even need to leave my computer, but I could steal your retirement, the equity in your home, even the money in your bank accounts. And you may not even know it till I'm long gone. Think you can stop me?
Identity theft has become one of the biggest criminal activities in the world, and fighting it on your own is nearly impossible. You need LifeLock, the only company whose sole mission is protecting our members' identities. At LifeLock, we believe you have the right to live free from the fear of identity theft, so we offer the most comprehensive identity theft protection available. Try LifeLock's service risk-free for 60 days. If you're not convinced, simply cancel within 60 days of enrollment for a full refund. This offer of 60 days risk-free is too important to pass up, so call now. 1-800-995-7932. Promo code Enroll60. That's 1-800-995-7932. Enroll60. See lifelock.com for details.
Now that it's the new year, isn't it time for the new you? That's right, the new you. The you who resolves to stop overspending and take control of your finances. The you who's ready to get serious about saving for the future by first paying off your debt. After all, those credit card bills aren't going anywhere until you decide to do something about it. But no worries, you are not in this alone. Nonprofit Trinity Debt Management is here to help. Trinity has a proven program that will consolidate your bills into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, drastically reduce your interest, and put an end to late fees and collections calls. You will save thousands and become debt-free for keeps. Hey, it's the new year. Shouldn't you make a resolution to call Trinity? 1-800-936-5348.
Trinity.
1-800-936-5348. Or visit mydebthasmedown.com.
Right now.
Take the survey right now, KCMOTalkRadio710.com. Is it okay to not hire someone because they're obese? It's happening. KCMOTalkRadio710.com.
We're back, and you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710. I love Red Hot Chili Peppers. Oh, my God, that just made my day to hear that song. So I want to thank my guest, Sam, for being on the show, and I still have Coach Rutt in the building. Hi, Coach Rutt.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
And you're managing the time.
I'm managing the process, so I'm going to manage it. Let's manage this. So, everything we talked about today involves two things. No matter how you set it up, it's your mindset and it's your strategy. So if you want to learn more about how you can apply the mindset of no more excuses in your life, go to Sam's website at www.samsilverstein.com, or you can get it on Amazon and get his book. And also join his Accountability Academy. I checked it out. It's amazing. There's so many resources to keep you accountable. And if you really want to start applying these principles into your wellness lifestyle, then come on over to Bootcamp Fitness and check out Coach Rutt and his awesome staff at www.bootcampfitnesskc.com. So, Coach Rutt, what did you think of that, those 5 accountabilities?
They're outstanding. The last one that he talked about in giving, that's a a really an interesting accountability practice. I think he says give without any expectation of things in return or coming back to you, and just let it happen that way. And I like that a lot.
Well, he says that in the last accountability to contribute to our relationships. And this actually is perfect about what we're going to talk about next week. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I think we often forget that in relationships, it's not just about us. I remember my dad told me when I was about to get married, it's not about me, it's about we, and it's not about I, it's about us. And you have to be willing to not put your needs aside, but really be willing to take one for the team, give into your relationship if you want to get back. And I remember we talked about that, how much you like that.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is that you and I were just discussing was involved, setting a low expectation because someone has told you in your past this is all you're capable of, and the past doesn't equal the future. We program. There's two. I came from a collegiate strength and conditioning background. We program and we train you like we're going to train an athlete that walks in. I mean, we work with athletes as well as radio talk show personalities. But we're all athletes. Some of us have just been training, and some of us haven't been training. And we've had people say, well, I'm not an athlete. I said, yes, you are. You're designed to move. You're designed to do the same things you're sitting in front of a television watching people do in a sporting event, but you are an athlete. You're wired the same way. You have the same cells, the same DNA. You're going to do it.
Part of why I love you and the work that you do is because you have the ability to really get the greatness out of everyone. I love with Coach Rutt, if I miss a few days of boot camp, I don't even bother giving him my excuse or my story because he really is a no nonsense, no excuse kind of guy. So it's great when you have a model of, when you're faced with someone who holds themselves accountable, you yourself want to step into your greatness. Like, I don't even bother with the excuses and stories like, oh, I slept late, that's why I couldn't come. I just say, you know what, I gotta try again. Next day will be better. I got to show up the next day.
And I've probably already heard it before.
Yeah, you probably already heard it, so why waste your time? So I just want to do a quick recap over the 5 accountabilities. The first is that you're accountable to the right things consistently. That's where you're setting your strategic intent or your goal. The second is that you're accountable to manage your space. The third is you're accountable to manage the process, which is my favorite because I think oftentimes people think that they do not have the ability to do so. The fourth is that you're accountable to establish the right expectations. And the fifth is that you're accountable to contribute to your relationship. So you can get Sam's book at Amazon.com. The book is called No More Excuses. Next week's show, we're going to be talking to the first coach I ever had, Greg DeMamos. So have you ever wondered why your partner or your spouse can't read your mind? Are you tired of always being let down and disappointed in your relationships? Well, I have news for you. Your partner is not psychic, nor is he or she a mind reader. And it's up to you to get your needs met. My guest, Greg DeMamos, relationship coach, is going to talk about how to get your needs met in your relationship. He's a relationship coach and the co-founder of 21st Century Man. So it's all about getting your needs met next week. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed Easter and Passover. And as always, you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710. Please be kind to yourself.